no girls got it. I wake up with no Coolio, again, baby.
Are you bored of conventional ADCs? Do you like poking the enemy and running after every shot? Are you bored of all these high attack speed ADCs that seem to kill everything in their attack range? Do you want to have a safe lane and scale up to kill enemies in 2 hits? Have you ever wanted something new? Well, let me introduce you to Ezreal. Jhin. So, Jhin is this funky, virtuoso, psychopath murderer artist kinda guy that is being hired by people to kill, but he does that in the most spectacular ways because he believes death is the most beautiful part of one's life. Which is ironic, since when you're playing against Jhin, your screen will have way less colors than usual. Also, he has an unhealthy obsession with the number 4.
I shall choreograph this affair.
No, Jhin, this is my video and I get to write the script. In-game, Jhin is one of the only ADCs that have survived the preseason, and he even came out on top, with a huge win rate of over 53%, as well as a nearly 30% pick rate. That's due to him being able to build lethality and threaten the bonus team with his 4th shot. Jhin's passive alters the way he basic attacks. First, his crits deal 150% instead of 175% damage, and he can't gain attack speed at all, except through levels. Sounds weak so far until we get to the rest of the passive. The gun he has is too small to hold more than 4 bullets, so he has to reload after shooting them out. The reload takes 2.5 seconds, during which you can't attack, but you can use abilities or yell racial slurs in chat. Not recommended. It does take a bunch of time to get used to, so you might want to get into practice tool and just try farming with him for a couple of minutes to get the feel down. If Jhin's ammo isn't full, he reloads the gun after 10 seconds, but it can be delayed by casting abilities or attacks, or being in combat. Jhin's 4th shot is a special one. He starts spinning his gun like it's CSGO, and walking up to you like he wants to tell you a secret. The shot is guaranteed to crit, just how Trump supporters are guaranteed to— oh ho ho ho, let's not get political there, buddy. It always crits and deals bonus percentage missing health damage. When you get some items, this is the point of your damage. If you're able to kill someone with your 4th shot, you win the fight, but if you have to reload during the fight, you might as well change your name to Sans, cause you're gonna be boned. Also, Jhin gets a bajillion AD that increases the more attack speed and crit you have. Also, critting makes Jhin run like he just saw a Rengar ult above him for 2 seconds, scaling with attack speed. This part, alongside his slow attack speed and high AD, is why Jhin has such a hit and run playstyle, unlike other ADCs that tend to just get in the fight and walk around while firing. Jhin's Q, Dancing Grenade, fires a point and click cartridge that bounces around enemies, damaging up to 4 targets. If the target it hits dies, damage on the subsequent bounces increases by 35%, meaning that the final bounce can deal up to this much damage on the last enemy. Use it to farm, to poke down enemies in lane, or just to get some bonus damage in between shots to set up for your 4th shot execute. At first, I thought it was another misleading ability name, but when you max it and get a perfect bounce, it really does blow up the enemy. Notice how before I said if the target it hits dies. If you shoot and kill a minion after the grenade bounced, it will still get empowered damage. Just watch this. Right, we get that out of the way. Alright, Jhin's W is one of the 2 forms of hard CC he's got in his kit. He charges up a shot and hits everything in a long line, stopping at a champion. It deals mediocre physical damage, further reduced on non-champions. If the champion hit has taken damage from Jhin or his teammates in the last 4 seconds, they are also rooted for up to 2 seconds. Rooting a champion also gives you movement speed as if you hit a crit. This is your main form of CC, and it's very hard to hit unless the enemy is already slowed or immobilized. You can also scout out places when the enemies might be hiding by checking if the beam stops or not. I don't need to see you to shoot you, fool. E, Captive Audience, is split up into a passive and an active. I'll go over the active first, and you'll see why. Jhin lays down a trap at a range, consuming 1 of 2 charges. It arms in a second and stays there, invisible, for up to 3 minutes. When an enemy steps over the trap, it activates, slowing everyone in the area, revealing them for 4 seconds and applying the mark for his W's route. After 2 seconds, it explodes, dealing pretty high magic damage to everyone in the area. The damage on multiple traps at once is reduced, but not that much, which means that stacking multiple traps in one place is still a viable strat. Speaking of trap placement, place them in places where the enemy will likely want to go through these places, like choke points and tight places. Place the trap usually around the middle of the passage because the way the hitboxes work will usually make it activate anyway. In lane, you can place them around bushes to keep vision on the enemy support that's desperately trying to get to your heart the shortest way, through your ribcage. You can also place them in places like these, as it's a very long way to walk around them and it denies ganks in some situations. Hello traveler, welcome to my lair. I'm more dangerous than the Witch of Blair. If you wish to pass, you must answer with your heart, but as it seems you are not too clever. Jhin's ult makes him a better sniper than Caitlyn. Poor thing. Jhin zooms out to get a better picture and becomes stationary. He gets 10 seconds to shoot 4 huge long-range shots, each slowing enemies, revealing them and dealing percentage missing health damage. The shots stop on hitting enemy champions and reveal an area around them while in flight. Just like his passive, the 4th shot crits, but this time not for some measly 150% damage, instead dealing the full 200% of its base damage. It's best used to finish people off when they're low after a fight, or when the teamfight has already started and you're too far away to help out. Your enemies can see the range and where you are, so make sure you're in a safe spot when casting or you'll get caught out, captured and forcibly taken back to base after a short colorless while. I do not need to see you to shoot you. Jhin is a strange champion. He's this weird mixture of ADC and assassin, and by that I mean he can punish positioning mistakes really well with a quick death due to unexpected holes in the victim's torso or head. Funnily enough, he can get punished equally as hard for misstepping himself, but considering that statistically most of you aren't higher than gold, it won't happen that often. I would also like to apologize for my last statement. I love you all equally no matter what your rank is. Please give me watch time. While most champions have a somewhat strong early, mid or late game, Jhin seems to be around equally strong at any point in the game. Early game, he's got missing HP damage that helps him in trades, as well as some CC other ADCs lack. Mid game, he can kite very well with the movement speed from crits, and late game, he just shoots someone twice and they disappear into the Shadow Realm. He doesn't seem to have a very weak point, which is why he seems so powerful. Other champions have different weaknesses, but Jhin only seems to have one, being a lack of any mobility other than movement speed. He's so strong not because of numbers or mechanics that are overtuned, but because he threatened the balance team with his 4th shot. For runes, these 2 rune pages are the most common right now, with the Harvest one dominating. You take Dark Harvest because it helps out with setting up for your 4th shot execute, and because with your poke, you can proc it fairly easily in lane. Then Taste of Blood because, as above, you can proc it easily to keep you healthy in lane, Eyeball Collector because I said so, and then you have a choice. Most people seem to build Ravenous Hunter to get more healing from abilities. You can also take Ingenious Hunter for a lower cooldown on your Gale Force, or Relentless Hunter to have a bit more mobility. I personally take Relentless Hunter because I don't see how Ravenous Hunter could provide any useful healing in combat. In secondary runes, get Presence of Mind. Jhin consumes quite a lot of mana for his abilities, so it's very useful. Then get Bloodline, because the AD you'd get from Alacrity is negligible, and if you kite and move well enough, you don't need Tenacity anyway. Build. Build, 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 build. At the start of the preseason, everyone built Eclipse, because it was dummy busted, but with its range nerf and the nerf to overall burst from items, everyone has moved over to the new guy in town. Gale Force. Why? Well, the reason is fairly kind of very simple. It gives Jhin mobility, and the missing HP damage helps set up for his 4th shot perfectly. It's simply the best mythic for him, and the only thing that could make it better is if it also gave him a Soul Shaker so he could taste better when you feed him. That brings us to his second item, Collector. While Gale Force is the perfect mythic for him, this is Jhin's perfect legendary item. Giving AD, crit and lethality, and not wasting money on suboptimal attack speed, the stats make him deal so much damage. The only thing he doesn't really utilize is the execute, because he already has an execute in his passive, but that's not why anyone buys the Collector anyway. After that, get either Rapid Fire Cannon or Infinity Edge. Rapid Fire Cannon is the better choice if you need to poke and kite more, and Infinity Edge just gives you more raw damage. You know which one I prefer, don't you already? Then take the other one and top the build off with a situational item. Oh, and get Swifties for better kiting and because Ash is a rat bastard. I've taken the decision to put less clips with friends in my videos. Partially because I feel like it's not the most pleasant to have your ears being bumped with foreign words you don't understand and having to read everything that's on screen to get it, and also, I don't think it can be considered creative content as much as the rest of the video. It feels more like filler than anything. I don't have an outro for this video.